picking on me.
This program lineup is brought to you by Vision Express.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam. KUAM News headlines are presented by Calvo's Insurance, protecting Micronesia for 85 years. Matson and the Adai Itano program. Apply at matson.com and McDonald's of Guam. I'm loving it.
Ahead on KUAM News Primetime.
A Tuesday night shooting in Tamuning leaves one man dead and 27-year-old Gregory Romero arrested and charged with aggravated murder.
Senators wrap up this session voting on bills to better our emergency preparedness, public safety, and to provide local businesses with relief. I'm Nevaeh Anderson with more on this coming up.
The Guam Micronesia Island Fair returns this June 7th and 8th to celebrate the diversity of the islands. I'm Ari Kirigo with more coming up on this story tonight on Primetime.
Hafid, good evening. Welcome to KUAM News Primetime. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Thank you so much for making us a part of your day. Top story tonight, a man is dead after a late night shooting in the parking lot of Guam Premier Outlets. The case has been ruled a homicide. Prosecutors are seeking $1 million cash bail and pretrial confinement for the suspect, Gregory Romero, calling him a danger to the community. KUAM is aware of graphic videos of the incident circulating on social media, but out of respect for the victim and their family, we will not be airing the footage. A man is dead following a shooting in the parking lot of the Guam Premier Outlets. The incident happening around 10 p.m. on Tuesday. That's when Guam police received an anonymous call reporting the sound of multiple gunshots. According to court documents, officers arrived to find the victim unconscious and unresponsive next to a blue truck. The alleged shooter, 27-year-old Gregory Arthur Romero, reportedly admitted, quote, "It was me, sir. I was the one who shot him." Romero also allegedly confirmed that the black handgun found near the victim's body belonged to him. Court documents further detail a woman at the scene shouting, quote, "Oh my God, why did you have to shoot him?" as Romero was being arrested. The Attorney General's office describes the case as domestic in nature. Meantime, preliminary findings from the chief medical examiner revealed that the victim's cause of death was from gunshot wounds, ruling the manner of death a homicide. And as graphic videos of the incident have been circulating on social media, KUAM has chosen not to air the sensitive content out of respect for the victim and his loved ones. It's a loss that has left his close friend in shock. He tells us the victim was his daughter's godfather.
Oh, honestly, man, that guy's a really good guy, very outgoing. And since my daughter was born, he's been there for her, like since day one, always, being there when getting her things that she needs, wants, anything. He's a good guy.
He adds that he never expected him to be involved in a situation like this.
He's a family man, and that's what's crazy about it. It's like, I wouldn't think he would be caught up in any of this.
Meanwhile, Tamuning residents are expressing frustration over the lack of information from GPD. Some saying they didn't know if the shooter was still at large.
What concerns me is the lack of messaging from GPD on whether or not the alleged shooter was caught. By now, it's already 12 o'clock, so around 13 hours have passed. The only word we get is from social media. As we know, Tamuning is very highly populated. Children frequent GPO, yet 13 hours pass and GPD has been mum on the topic so far.
Tamuning Mayor Luis Rivera also had a message for residents feeling uneasy.
Everyone should just be safe and enjoy the shopping mall and the different entertainment places or businesses that we have in our community, but also, most of all, respect each other.
Meantime, the case remains ongoing. Romero, originally booked for aggravated assault, is now expected to face additional charges following the case's reclassification as a homicide. Detectives are aware of numerous videos capturing the incident and are asking the public for any information or witnesses that can aid in the investigation. And in other news, lawmakers have officially wrapped up a session marked by important wins for social programs and public safety, but also tough debates over key healthcare reforms. As lawmakers weigh progress against prudence, the community watches closely how these details will shape Guam's future. Nevaeh Anderson has the details.
Guam's lawmakers passed a slate of bills this past session, from enhancing our emergency preparedness to expanding access to Medicaid and food assistance. But with other key proposals such as hospital reform on the table being voted down, the session also highlights the delicate balance between change and caution. One of the most community-focused wins this session was Bill 78, which allows certain SNAP recipients to use their benefits on hot meals through the Restaurant Meals program. But not every proposal aimed at community health care made it through. Bill 13, which would have created a public-private partnership to stabilize the Guam Memorial Hospital, was voted down. Bill author Senator Therese Terlahi.
As to our session, I rise with a mix of gratitude and some disappointment. The reality is this: GMH continues to face serious problems, and Bill 13 was a practical solution to address these challenges, with the goal of improving operational efficiency and reducing financial losses.
Lawmakers also unanimously passed Bill 33, strengthening Guam's criminal code by expanding the definitions of first and second degree criminal sexual conduct. Meanwhile, Bill 118 passed, offering Medicaid providers a BPT rebate on Medicaid receipts to help the cost of operation and increase access. Senators also voted to repeal the legalization of consumer-grade fireworks through Bill 20, citing safety and public health concerns. The measure passed, putting stricter controls back in place. On the business side, Bill 67 passed, giving the Antonio B. Wonpat International Airport Authority greater freedom to award contracts. But the move sparked concern from senators who say it cuts out transparency and oversight. For businesses and consumers alike, Bill 59 will now require the itemization of business privilege tax on all receipts and invoices. It sets out to provide a new level of transparency that benefits both sides. While it's not financial relief, it's reputational relief, helping customers better understand the true cost of doing business on Guam. With a packed session now behind them, some senators say the legislature should be doing more and meeting more often to truly fulfill its responsibilities as public servants.
This 38 Guam legislature is 6 months old. We've been in session twice. That might be one of the most significant accomplishments of this new majority, is turning this legislature into a part-time legislature with full-time pay.
In the wake of these votes, and with session now adjourned, the legislature leaves behind a mix of progress and hesitation, showing how each decision is shaped by both the urgency to act and the caution to get it right. Nevaeh Anderson, KUAM News.
As a U.S. territory without a vote in Congress and an island community fighting for self-determination, how do we arm ourselves with our own definition of security amid the current geopolitical competition in the Indo-Pacific? The Pacific Center for Island Security recently hosted a two-day forum seeking an answer to that question. Mitsuki Hirayama has the details.
With a threat of great power competition in the Indo-Pacific, what does security in Guam and the wider Micronesia region look like? It's a perspective and definition that island communities have to define for themselves outside of those in uniform or thousands of miles away in the nation's capital. That's according to former Guam Congressman Dr. Robert Underwood.
Because the island communities are being asked to put themselves on the line, and we need to know whether we should be, and what are the costs, what are the trade-offs, what are the benefits.
Underwood is a chairman for the Pacific Center for Island Security. The Guam-based think tank recently hosted a two-day virtual forum focused on security and insecurity in Micronesia.
Island definitions of security need to be articulated because right now, military commanders on Guam always talk about partnership. They want to engage in partnership. But partnership means you have shared decision-making. Right now, we don't have shared decision-making. They decide, we react. And if we react negatively, they say, you're not being a good partner. That kind of relationship cannot continue.
The forum underscored their mission to examine and bring attention to the current geopolitical competition in the region through international speakers. These experts say Japan and China are showing interest in Micronesia beyond security and military initiatives through soft power strategies.
It's refreshing to hear that because what we're hearing in Guam is mostly the drumbeat of fear and trepidation, and that the only way to resolve any kind of strategic competition with China is through military arms and military defensive strategies.
For instance, Dr. Deng Ho Zhang, a senior fellow at Australian National University's Department of Pacific Affairs, says China has been increasing foreign aid while the U.S. withdraws theirs.
China has been looking for opportunities to increase their influence in the Pacific region, including in those Micronesia countries.
Under the Trump administration, USAID is withering on the vine. All of those programs, including vaccine programs and different kinds of projects like that that exist in the compact states, are now being shriveled.
Underwood says the Trump administration has, quote, invested all their eggs in the military basket, creating a defensive mentality that concedes economic, diplomatic, and humanitarian initiatives to competing countries.
And so the question is that a wise move? And the question for us is, what is good for us? What is good for Guam? You're not developing a mentality for the future. And the future is going to come whether you like it or not.
Meantime, PCIS is to create a publication following the forum, which he says will be of enormous value to island communities. Matsuki Hirayama, KUAM News.
Time for a quick break, but coming up tonight on Primetime, get ready for fiscal fitness to improve your financial health. You're watching KUAM.
Leaving my phone and bush cutter outside. What's gonna happen? Ooh. Yep. Oh, take it. Come on, bro. It's free. Bro. Yo. Bro. Bro. Just take it.
Looking to ditch your old phone?
Take it.
Trade into Guam's most reliable network and get an extra $300 off the latest phones on any unlimited plan. GTA, we start with you.
Anything's possible. I push to the limits. I climb every wall. I keep on believing. Anything's possible.
If there's one thing we've learned, it's never to underestimate the spirit and strength of the people of our island home. Which is why at Bank of Hawaii, you, your dreams, and your possibilities will always have a home. Reach your possible with Bank of Hawaii.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus with Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
Being stationed on Guam, there is much to do on the beautiful island. But before you pack, sanitize any household items and leave any organic materials behind to prevent the introduction of invasive species. If it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
New training location confirmed. The Mariana Islands. Before and after training, you will identify and sanitize your tactical gear to prevent the spread of invasive species. If it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
Taco Bell brought back crispy chicken nuggets, and I can't believe how good they are.
Why can't you believe it?
Because you're Taco Bell. Taco Bell.
Yeah, but a taco place can do nuggets, right?
Yeah. Mike's Hot Honey Diablo sauce is awesome.
Okay, they're good, but we're not a chicken place.
When did you guys become a chicken place?
Chicken? Can't a taco place do good nuggets? Are we not allowed to do both?
What do you mean?
You think it's cool to do both, right? Why are you looking at me like that?
Are they okay?
I don't think so.
We're totally a taco place that's a chicken place that's also a taco place.
Welcome back to Primetime. Well, the 37th annual Guam Micronesia Island Fair is coming on Saturday, June 7th and Sunday, June 8th to celebrate the harmony of Micronesia. KUAM intern Irie Kitigwa has more on the story.
There are fruit festivals, there are block parties, and there are weekly night markets, but there is only one annual Guam Micronesia Island Fair. Coming up on June 7th and 8th is the 37th annual GMIF celebration with the theme Cantas and Baila. The event is free admission at the Governor Joseph Flores Memorial Park at Ipao Beach. A press conference held to go over the lineup included Guam Visitors Bureau PIO Lisa Bordalio, Sports and Events Staff Member Craig Camacho, and Vice President Jerry Perez, who shares a little bit of what the fair is really about.
It's about celebrating the harmony of Micronesia and the music, the culture, the dances, the food, and the traditions that define who we are as a region.
The fair includes various vendors with crafts for purchase, food trucks, canoe races, cultural demonstrations and exhibitions, and many performances, including a free concert from headliner Jordan T. Something new that the Guam Visitors Bureau is introducing at the fair is the beach flagging event, something that Camacho himself is looking forward to.
It's nice to see the island community coming out, and we are featuring a great beach flag event that's happening Sunday. And so I always talk about symbiosis and how the relationship between the product and promoting the product is very important. And so we've engaged our Japanese marketing folks and our overseas Japan team, and so we're bringing in a professional to to display beach flag. And what better island than our own local island to engage in marine activities that helps separate us apart from the others.
Lisa Bordalio invites the island to come celebrate.
We hope for all of the island to come out, and we hope for a good a turnout of our visitors as well, and providing a place where everybody can kind of come together. And this is in our recovery efforts. This is a signature event. GVB has certain signature events throughout the year, and this is one of them that is one of our biggest.
Demonstrations by Iggy Masiha as well as 150 performers and musicians will kick off the event amongst much more from the islands of the CNMI, Chuuk, Pohnpei, Kosrae, Republic of the Marshall Islands, Yap, Palau, and Guam. Throughout the weekend will be various activities for everyone such as petting zoos, carnival rides, and much more. Bring your family, friends, and loved ones to celebrate the diverse cultures and traditions Guam caters to with the rest of the island.
Not only does the Guam Micronesian Island Fair provide a unique event for all of our visitors, it provides our local community the chance to celebrate Micronesia. And as I mentioned during the press conference, it's an exciting time to invite our brothers and sisters from our neighboring Micronesian islands to kind of, moment of pause, take a break, and come together and show truly Micronesia, what we're all about.
I'm Ari Kitago reporting for KUAM News, Biba Guam Micronesia Island Fair.
This fitness is made possible by our partner, Coast 360.
All right, let's head back out over to my tea where Jason brings you another episode of Fiscal Fitness. Tonight's topic, financial tips for newlyweds.
All right, here we are, Fiscal Fitness. Once again, we are in Mighty today, joining our friends at Coast 360. Andrew Bora is an expert in the area of planning and everything. And Drew, if I may use you as an example, because you are very, very happily married. Yes. We're talking about newlyweds today and some of the financial planning that goes into that. When it comes to like getting joint accounts or keeping accounts like separate and everything, is there really a better way to do that as far as, managing your finances, getting a better rate, maybe even like towards tax season?
Oh yeah, so as someone who's married, I've found a lot of benefits and good tips to have when it comes to shared accounts. So when it comes to married couples, each couple should have a total of 4 accounts. So there's an individual savings for me, individual savings for her, a joint savings, and a joint checkings. So our individual savings, that's for our whatever we want to do it, whatever we want to buy. If we want to get that new tool set, I have my savings for that. That doesn't relate to her. When it comes to our joint accounts, having a joint savings, it takes 2 signatures to get money out of that account. Those are for like the bigger expenses and for future planning, as a married couple. And then of course the joint checkings, those are for our daily expenses, outings, food, dinner, gas, groceries, things like that. It's things that we're both going to use. Having that joint checkings allows us to both have access to it at any time. So
4 accounts. Mm-hmm. Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Now, do you recommend, given that philosophy, a credit card for each spouse with a modest credit limit, or you just have one for the both of you and it's like 10,000 credit limit?
Well, it depends. So if you guys do an equal amount of spending, let's say per month I spend $1,000 and she spends $1,000, one credit card is fine because it's kind of a shared thing. Whereas some couples, one person may cover the bills, one person may cover the groceries, or one person may cover everything, and the other person just pays for like little expenses here and there. So having two credit cards would be more beneficial because one credit limit may be higher than the others. If I'm the one buying things all the time, I want to have that higher credit limit, whereas my wife doesn't spend as much. She doesn't need that high of a credit limit, so she can have a smaller credit card.
Okay, when it comes to your loans, right? If you should say you're getting a vacation loan, a car loan in the future, is it better to have you and your spouse co-sign on each other's like loans as co-applicants, or is it smarter to actually say, I don't want to encroach on my partner's credit score, potential, like debt obligations for the future, and what's the best way to do that?
Okay, so when it comes to you and your spouse, it's good to co-sign because Guam is a community property state. So what is mine is hers, what is hers is mine. Yeah. It doesn't really matter if they co-sign, but it's when you start to get mom, dad, brother, sister, son, daughter involved. That's when it gets a little bit messy because they have their own financial responsibilities, they have their own income, and they may not be very supportive sometimes as a co-signer. But when it comes to you and your spouse, having them co-sign, it won't be too much of an issue.
Okay. How about common law, like wife? If you're married, either married by the judge, married by one of the senators, or you get married in church, it's all good. But what if you were just like in that arrangement where you're living together and not officially married yet, about conjoining finances?
So it does not matter. So if you're married, if you're legally married, if you're if it's a common law, it really doesn't matter. We take a look at your credit score, we take a look at your income. Your marital status really shouldn't have a big impact on it. It's more of a communication thing. So if you live with that person, it's going to be a little bit easier to communicate, okay, who's paying for the loan at what time.
Well, you share the debt, you share the ability to borrow, but obviously as a gentleman and everything, you still open the door and you still like a gentleman 100% through, and a financial expert. So Matt, we always appreciate the expert financial advice you've given here on Coast 360. That's Fiscal Fitness for this week. Thanks for watching.
Fiscal Fitness is made possible by our partner, Coast 360. Together, we...
Now for a look at your world at home. Here's a view of Fort Soledad in Humata.
GU Self-Storage, located in Harmon next to McDonald's, offers a variety of storage units. With rates starting as low as $95 per month, we offer complimentary use of dollies, push carts, Plines hand trucks, and pallet jack, with a fully covered loading and unloading areas and ADA accessible units. We offer 24-hour CCTV surveillance monitoring, alarm, and individual pin-coded gate and door access, because your safety is our priority. GU Self-Storage, voted Pika's Best in 2024. Call 671-648-7867 today.
Bye. I wish they could move back home.
Should we build on a honeymoon?
Yes. Yes!
First Hawaiian Bank knows that family comes first. That's why our bankers work with you to make your what is a reality. Personalized service and digital tools, all under one roof when you bank on the best. First Hawaiian Bank. It all starts with yes.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
Hi, my name is Gia Peters. I'm class of 2026. I play basketball for St. John's Knights. My typical training regimen usually consists of a lot of foundational stuff, a lot of basics, because I feel like basics are usually overlooked And to build up to like higher levels, you need to focus on the foundational stuff. Before a big game, I usually like to visualize myself, like pre-game shoot-arounds. I like to envision myself in the moment in those games. I try to embrace it really during the games because I trust myself and all the work that I've put in before so that I don't have to worry about it in those moments of high pressure in the game. The short-term goals that I'm trying to achieve is for next season, I'm going to try to win a championship again. Hopefully get 3-time MVP. And long term, I have dreams to play collegiate ball in the States or anywhere really. Just any opportunity I get to play basketball on a higher level. I think the most challenging part is having the self-discipline to go to practice every day, because it's those days where you don't even want to go to practice and you have the choice, like you just want to stay in bed. Those are the moments that really define who you are as a player. Advice I would give to the younger generations aspiring to like reach the next level, I would say that really lock in on the foundations first before you get ahead of yourself and start like doing all of this next level stuff. Have the self-discipline to go to practice every day and just really fall in love with the process. Love the game and do it for yourself. You can't do it for anyone else. As I grow, I realize that success in the game is defined by how you feel about yourself when you play, and making sure that you're holding yourself to the standard that you want to be held at and consistently meeting that standard. Shout out to all my coaches for all the practices they've been putting me through. Coach Darren Hechanova on the men's national team, RG Flores, my dad, obviously. He's my #1 supporter, my #1 coach. He's made me who I am today. Coach Mad, Coach Merwin, my national team coaches, thank you to all of them. And shout out to my mom, because she's my #1 supporter and I love her. And shout out to all my friends and family who have helped me get to this point in my life.
Wesley kicks out. Simon, big three. Oh, baby!
Don't need to work for it, keep the smile on your face. The moments you can't replace, and I'll be around.
Wherever life takes you, we're always here for you. Calvo's Insurance. Count on us for life.
Can somebody please help me judge this chicken?
Juicy, seasoned.
Wow.
Yeah, that's the hair.
Now, who you think made this?
I don't know who cooked it, but they know how to cook.
Boom! Oh, McDonald's! Yes!
Are you serious? You don't like Mickey D's? Okay.
Guess what? I got something special for y'all. Double dip!
Cause that nods mean people who love McCrispy strips.
How you feeling now? Yeah.
Caught in 4K.
McCrispy strips, man, from Mickey D's. They here for it. Ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.
Super speed your life with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet. Get symmetrical upload and download speeds up to 5 gigs. Get started with Fiber 500 at $145 a month, Fiber 1 gig at $215 a month, or Fiber 5 gig at $299 a month. Plus, get 2 SuperPod 6Es with any plan, and a free EcoFlow River 3 and bonus welcome kit with 1 gig and 5 gig plans. Experience tomorrow's islands today with Docomo Pacific Fiber Internet.
Time for News Bites, everybody. Here we go. The Great American Circus, the Super Circus, is back, and they have a summer camp for you. They're going to teach you about performing arts. They're going to teach you about expression. They're going to teach you the art, right? Part art, part science of making people happy. So I want you to go check it out. June 16th through the 27th. These are professionals, right? And they are going to pass all of their knowledge, their institutional skills that they've been working years and years on. They're going to teach it to you, all right? Learn balance, make friends, and have an absolutely wonderful summer. That's what it's all about. All right, Jordan T Live is coming up, and Jordan T is going to be playing at the Guam Marianas Island Fair. Check it out, the 37th time, the Guam Micronesia Island Fair. It's much broader than the Marianas, right? We're going region-wide. Canta Zan Baila, song and dance. That's what it's all about, so make sure to pass by. Free admission. That's the best part. I like free. And story time is coming up. You know what's awesome? Story time, and story time is free also. Have the wonderful opportunity to share stories, to hear amazing works, and my friends over at the Lions Club International, they do so many wonderful things for our island community, and District 204 is bringing back Summer Saturday Story Time. It's at the downtown library in so many positive ways. I implore you, please make sure you do this. By the way, if they take requests, the Lorax, having somebody read Dr. Seuss's The Lorax to you is an awesome thing, all right? So make sure to go check it out. So, Summertime Circus Camp with our friends at the Super Circus. We have Jordan T playing at the Guam Micronesia Island Fair, and then we have story time, all right? 1, 2, 3. Get involved, super fun. An enthusiastic and very grateful Northern happy birthday to Vice Mayor Pedro Blas of Jigo. Vice, we hope you have an absolutely fantastic day. Jigo strong. Hey, Citrus Fest, Red Dirt, we love Jigo. That's my home village. Vice, we hope you had a fantastic birthday today. Want to wish your special someone a happy birthday? Just click the QR code here on your screen or email birthdayclub@kuam.com.
And that's your Primetime Show. Thanks for watching. I'm Destiny Cruz-Lingus. Have a safe evening and stay beautiful.
Hafa Guam, I'm Jason Salas with KUAM. April 2025 marked the 50th anniversary of the fall of Saigon, and in that time, a very important moment in Guam history too, because leading up to the fall and for about 4 months afterwards, Guam played a role in Operation New Life, where our island gave shelter, hope, support, and friendship to over 110,000 Vietnamese refugees for Operation New Life here at the Asa Memorial Beach Park and up at Anderson in Jigo. And up in Dedido at the Micronesia Mall right now, there's an exhibit that captures this moment in American history and tells Guam's role in Operation New Life. It's what we're going to explore in this week's episode of The Hub. We are here in the Operation New Life Center. It is amazing, this collection of memorabilia, of documents, of history, and a part of Guam history. And the gentleman who is the historian and the curator of all of these amazing works right now and this center is Jeff Meyer. Jeff? Very good to see you.
Oh, thank you.
And thank you so much for putting this together because, you know, like I'm 51 now, and I remember when I was taking Guam history, of course, you know, Liberation Day for us is coming up. That was the most important day of the year.
Right.
But Operation New Life was either taught either just anecdotally or just, you know, not at all, which is really, really sad because this is a significant moment in Guam history that needs to be talked about.
Right.
Yeah. So what do we have here at the center, and what journey has it been for you personally as a student of history to assemble this?
Well, we had a display, I believe 3 years ago at the Sands Plaza for, basically it was all of Vietnam War. That's how I got first involved with this. As far as curating, a lot of the stuff is, not all of the stuff is mine, but a lot of it is. And some of it's actually donated by folks who actually evacuated their Vietnam refugees that are living here now. A lot of these clothes and stuff like that are actually been donated, and the stuff here behind me is part of the Vietnam veterans from Guam set up. So there's other things here besides my stuff, but definitely been a very interesting ride, just learning about the events that happened from April to August of 1975, and just realizing we had 111,000 people here when the population of Guam at that time was around 80,000. So I mean, it was more refugees here than there was actually people living on Guam.
Exactly.
There was 14 to 17 two-story Butler buildings down there, and could hold up to 5,000 refugees there. And then Arodi Point on Naval Base Guam reached a max of 39,000 people living in tents in mid-May of 1975. So just thinking about people living in tents, that many people, you know, it was just a lot of.
And of course, with this Operation New Life Center being located in a mall, like literally and everything. I mean, you get shoppers, you get tourists, you get passerbys, you get people just like, you know, going for a good bite to eat. You know, there's a student graduation as we're speaking right now and everything. But what do you see as for the people that walk by and maybe then, you know, hesitate or want to, you know, stick their head in and actually like see what's going on?
Well, I like to point out that on the outside, where usually like store displays are supposed to be, is people can actually walk out there and get a photograph with the background of being at Rhodey Point Naval Base, Guam. We have tents painted on the walls, and we got a cot laying there, and people can actually walk in there and, you know, kind of feel what it's like to be a refugee, but get their picture taken through the glass. And then on this side, we have a picture of an old painting that was given to, who's the guy who used to write Pipe Dreams in the PDN?
Joe Murphy?
Joe Murphy.
Joe Murphy.
Yes, so this painting was given to Joe Murphy, and this artist ended up going...
The great Joe Murphy, yes.
He ended up going back on the ship, and we've never got any contact from this artist again. He went back to Vietnam. Plus, we have the B-52 cockpit that people can actually sit in.
That's
and
amazing.
Act like you're flying. And yes.
Well, my former ROTC instructor, you know, retired First Sergeant Dan Mendiola, was the gentleman who organized the Veterans Memorial over in Manilao. And you know, and he actually got like some of this. You know, it's got that gun turret there. You know, you've got the wonderful memorials, but kind of in the same way, you've actually got memorabilia straight from that period of American history.
Yes.
How'd you get that?
Well, those were the old ArcLight Memorial B-52 used to sit out there on the ArcLight Park there. People would drive in and be onto the right side when you're driving in.
Back when Anderson had the open houses every once in a while.
There's that old B-52 sitting there. We had to scrap it back in 2014, but that seat is actually from that aircraft, the very first one. And it's also the seat from the very famous photo of during Vietnam. There's a daytime photo of the B-52 dropping a whole string of bombs. Probably the most famous picture of B-52s during Vietnam.
And equally important perspective, yes, you know, the servicemen who actually served during that time.
Yes.
That was not just a mission to them like any other, you know, sortie or something like that. That was a very, very critical job that they had to do.
Very humanitarian, and yes.
Absolutely. Final question. What has this meant for you personally to be able to say, to just be involved with this in any capacity?
Well, for me, it's like I feel like I've actually been there talking to people. I was only 11 years old, not to date myself, but I was only 11 years old, and I vaguely remember hearing about this in the news. But now to be actually here and meeting some of the people that put this together who were refugees, and through the years as being a historian, it's been very impactful. There's one other gentleman who actually stayed at Assen, and he was a member of my church, and he was also a refugee, and he was okay until he got to Assen, and then he lost it. He just remembered the hills, and he just remembers the gratitude of the military and the Chamorro people that helped them out. He was like 10 years old too, like same age I was at that time. So.
Well, Jeff, thank you for keeping history alive for the wonderful Operation New Life Center here at the Micronesia Mall in Dededo. Thank you.
Thank you.
Summer's here, Guam. Get ready for sun-soaked days with Kmart. From beach gear to backyard barbecue essentials, Kmart has it all at prices that keep your wallet cool. Stock up on snacks and fun kids activities to keep them entertained. Kmart is Guam's one-stop shop for summer fun. Plus, military and frontline workers save more with our exclusive discounts every day. Shop now for your summer essentials at Kmart, the 24-hour superstore. Summer vibes, Kmart style.
Sometimes parenting can be hard. What should I be doing? The Guam Early Learning Council includes partners who can provide you with early childhood services and support. We are here to assist. For resources and information, simply call 311 Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., excluding holidays. Early connection can change everything.
NBC's Wednesday primetime lineup comes into focus. Vision Express. Fast, fashionable, focused.
KUAM TV8, first on Guam.
Guam's beauty is only surpassed by its hospitality. Please help protect it by not bringing any items that can have a harmful impact on the island. Remember, if it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
New training location confirmed. The Mariana Islands. Before and after training, you will identify and sanitize your tactical gear to prevent the spread of invasive species. If it's not native, it could be invasive. Leave invasives behind.
Welcome back to the Hub. Well, now that you've seen inside the Operation New Life Center here at the Micronesia Mall and seen the exhibit, seen a lot of the artifacts that have been presented, I'd like now to introduce you to Dr. Nam Kim, whose deep emotional connection to putting this project together and to documenting the history and the importance of this place and gather all of these different artifacts has special significance for him as he's tracing his own family's life and his own experience as a member of Operation New Life. Here's my interview with Dr. Kim.
Jason, thank you so much.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for your presence here, Doc. And your story is amazing because the good doctor has joined us on the island here because he is a study of anthropology and your own family fled Vietnam when Saigon fell. And you have now come back to actually share with us the amazing memories that you have, but also solicit from our community people that may have of those things so that you can do your work and essentially connect history.
Right. That's right. Thank you so much. It's a privilege to be here and to be speaking with you. So as you mentioned, my family and I left Vietnam April 29, 1975. This was the day before the city was taken. We fled by a helicopter off the rooftop of the USAID building and got out. I was only a year old at the time, so I don't remember any of this, but we left Saigon. We went through different vehicles all the way out to the coast, and we landed on the USS Midway that took us to a different ship, eventually took us to the Philippines, and then we were brought to Guam. So we were here in May and June of 1975 as part of Operation New Life. Mm-hmm. In the last 10 years or so, I've been documenting my parents' family histories, their respective origin stories in Korea as well as in Vietnam. So I have mixed ancestry. My father is Korean, my mother is Vietnamese. But in doing this research, one pivotal episode of their life histories would be our time spent here. And that got me reading about the history of Operation New Life and about Guam.
Now, by definition, they call it Operation New Life, but many of these stories have surfaced over the past few years. But I mean, for you, it's not just an operation. Obviously, this is your story, the story of your family. You've got some pictures. Would you mind sharing those with us?
Because I'd be happy to.
And as you said, you were an infant at the time, and you were probably too young to remember this and everything. But how does it feel to actually, to look at these moments in time captured, and then to be able to, to look back?
It's surreal. It's surreal to be here. It's really a privilege to be able to come back to our first point of our first destination, leaving Vietnam. And when you say Operation New Life, yes, it was an operation that was instrumental in helping people to leave chaos and start over, essentially. But the operation set us up for our new foundation, for our adopted homeland. So getting out of Vietnam, but going into the unknown, essentially, but getting to that life because of all the efforts, not just of the folks involved with the operation, but all of the people along the way. And this includes many local Guamanians that helped to run the operation, that volunteered at the camps. Mm-hmm. So for us, this is a matter of being here to also express our gratitude. Mm-hmm. So this is an image that my father took, actually. So this is my mother and me, probably April 29th, April 30th, right off the coast of Vietnam. We're already on one of the ships. He had his camera bag with him when we evacuated. So he was able to snap photos along the way of our journey.
And it's so interesting, if I may, Doc, because your mother is looking off into the distance, saying, as you said, we're getting away from the chaos, from that. I'm doing this for my family.
you're but a baby.
Yeah.
And you're just kind of like looking out at the water.
I'm oblivious to whatever's happening.
Yeah, it's an amazing image.
I know from speaking with my parents and hearing their stories that some of the feelings and the emotions and thoughts that were going through them as this was transpiring. And I'm guessing what she might be thinking at this moment is part of what she's described to me is this feeling of melancholy because she's leaving her homeland. Not only is she leaving her ancestral homeland, she's leaving back family, her parents, her siblings, without any knowledge of what's going to happen to them once we leave. And this is us going out into the void, not knowing where we're going to end up. And so my suspicion is all of that is sort of flowing through her head in this image.
It's immeasurable courage and bravery to make that decision to do that, but obviously, for your family.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure there are many, many stories of different families making similar kinds of decisions as they contemplate this massive dislocation, displacement. So this is one image. I can show some more.
No, please.
So this is an image. We landed on the USS Midway aircraft carrier, but then we were transferred to other vessels. This is one of the vessels that we were on. My father took this image. You can just see the mass of life, the overcrowded conditions, and then more people coming on these barges to join us on these ships. And there are makeshift camps on the ships. This is an image of us now having reached Guam. So this would be at Oroti Point. And this is the tent city as things were still getting set up. People were waiting. There's my mother and me at the time. They described to me that we were essentially always ready to go. So even though we had gotten to this safe haven, we didn't fully unpack things. We always had, every day was spent just kind of waiting in line for things, for services or food, but also waiting for our number to be called to know, are we being moved to a different location or are we potentially being moved off island?
And entrusting your lives literally in the hands of strangers who would
absolutely
say, we have something for you, or this is where you might, we're sending you to go for safety.
Right. Absolute strangers. Absolute strangers. So I can't stress enough just the gratitude that we have.
And that's part of your work because you are trying to reconnect with, with other people who have similar stories that did flee Vietnam or people that may have been involved
That's right.
The strangers essentially.
That's right. So I want to, before I talk about that project, I want to share something very quickly. Sure. This is an image. All of these photos have me and my mother because my dad was taking those photos. This is the only image that we have of him, actually, during the Exodus. So there's me. There's my father. And this is aboard the USS Midway, the aircraft carrier. And the only reason I have this photograph is about a year and a half ago, I was doing research about the USS Midway and its role in Operation New Life. I realized that the Midway is now parked right off the coast of San Diego. It has a museum and has a library. I contacted the librarian and I asked if they had any reports or archival materials that I could take a look at. He directed me to a website that's run by someone out of Minnesota, I believe. And on the website are images of the Midway throughout the course of American history. I found the section that was Operation New Life. I started clicking through the thumbnails, just hoping that maybe I catch a glimpse of something related to us. And then this image popped up. The caption said nothing about us. It just simply said refugees in the hangar, Operation New Life. But I recognized myself and my father from that photo. And it got me thinking. I was shocked to have found it. I don't know what the odds would be to find something like that. But if we were able to find something like this, just floating around, how many other artifacts, stories, how many other materials are still out there? Whether it's related to our family or to other families.
Yeah, pictures, documents,
everything.
Perhaps even video, maybe.
Absolutely.
Honey, do you want some milk?
Do you ever wonder how your favorite products make their way into your local stores? Most arrive on state-of-the-art Matson vessels that transport containers of food, household items, equipment, and supplies into the islands every week. Because we know that you depend on us, we work closely with our partners to ensure that our shipments arrive on time, all the time, so you can find your favorite products when you need them. We transport the region's most precious cargo that supports successful businesses and promotes a better quality of life for our families. Matson is proud to have been the hometown shipping carrier for Guam, the CNMI, and Micronesia for the past 25 years, and you can count on us to be here for generations to come.
Pizza Hut is about to hook you up with more of what you love. Because when you order any pizza, we'll hook you up with a free pizza later. That's a pizza now and a free pizza later. Get even more with the Hut Hookup. Order now, only on the Pizza Hut app. No one out-pizzas the Hut.
Now here on this very hallowed ground at the War in the Pacific Park here in Assen, I'd like to introduce you to a gentleman I interviewed last year who is himself a Vietnamese refugee who came back to Guam after becoming a medical doctor, visiting this very land, the very same place that gave him and his family shelter 50 years ago, coming back for the first time.
Dr. H. Bryant Nguyen visited Guam recently, speaking at the Hafidae Pacific Medical Conference. He's a man who's seen a lot with a unique connection to the territory, having returned and set foot on the island that he at one point called home after a half-century away.
My family was one of the refugees at the end of the Vietnam War. So the historic date for us is April 30th, 1975. But my family, we were able to leave early since my mother worked for the U.S. government. And then when we heard that Saigon actually fell, we left. And that's when we went to Guam.
Dr. Nguyen was 9 years old. Coming back to Guam, he walked the grass of the War in the Pacific Memorial Beach Park, where he briefly lived.
Then we were at Guam about at the beginning of May. And we stayed at Camp Asan, which I believe now is Asan Beach. We stayed there for like a month. And then we went to camp, I think, to Anderson Air Force Base for another week or so, waiting to be transported.
His family ultimately settled in Southern California, where he went to school and distinguished himself. He's now a faculty member at Loma Linda University, where he's done research on the body reacting erroneously to infection, the potentially lethal condition known as sepsis.
Yeah, so the management of sepsis right now is antibiotic, fluids management or blood pressure management, and source control is what we call it. Take out the source of infection. There has been a lot of research in the last, I would say, at least 3 to 4 decades looking what we call novel therapies. Novel therapies mean is there a specific drug that can target the disease? And we have a number of them. I would say several dozens that's been researched. Unfortunately, none of them has held up because we don't truly understand the unifying mechanism of sepsis.
After working as a software engineer, he shifted focus and went to med school. Now, he may have pivoted professions, but he maintained his innovative mindset that he now applies to the business of saving lives.
I'm actually exploring the use of AI for that. I think in the last maybe 5 to 10 years, there's a lot of predictive model that have been used to identify sepsis. But again, it goes back to the fundamental premise of what is the definition or how do I diagnose sepsis? So we don't have a gold standard yet. So when you have AI, it's just another predictive model that has to work off a gold standard. And when we're still debating about the gold standards, it's very difficult. But I think, yes, AI may add a different level of possibilities.
Win one championship, you're celebrated. Win twice, they call you a hero. 3 times, they say words like legend and dynasty. 4, 5, 6 titles, they'll say enough is enough. But when you've won it all 7 times, what's left to say? The trophy speaks for itself. Introducing the full lineup of Ram trucks. Ram, 7-time winner of Motor Trend's Truck of the Year.
All right, Hafidae, once again, my friends. Max Ronquillo is a man of many, many talents. You know him as literally the music man. He's been an educator, he has been a serviceman, and now through the Guam Philharmonic Philharmonic organization, Max, you have been able to bring this amazing story that, we're about the same age.
Yes.
And when I was talking with Jeff earlier, and when we were studying Guam history, this was something that was not really touched on, and certainly the importance is off the charts. So good to see you again, and thank you for putting this wonderful project together. I know it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it has been a global effort. We have scholars from around the world to make all of this happen. So, and it is a story that needs to be told. And we went to the same high school, and whether you realize it or not, we were surrounded by Vietnam veterans, and many of them were not ready to tell their story about this episode in U.S. history. I wasn't even born yet, and I'm not sure if you were. Maybe you were just born at that time. But
I mean, the fall of Saigon, 51 years ago now. Right. It happened the year I was born.
Yeah. So, this really prompted with me working with a few collaborators to bring Miss Saigon to Guam, the musical. And I knew that there was a connection with Guam, but I didn't really know how deep. And as I kept digging, the fact that 115,000 plus people came through here, and just imagine the people of Guam coming out with their families and friends and doing the best they can to really live that Inafamaulik spirit, making it work, regardless of the situation or lack of resources. We were not ready to take care of 115,000, but we did. And
we made it work. That's who we are.
We made it work.
And again, through the performing arts, you have been able to uncover and introduce to our people, this amazing story.
Yes, and there's a lot of musical nuggets in this exhibit. I'm wondering if people will recognize them as they go through the exhibit, because music is what has helped us uncover this story.
And no one knows that better than you about how music is the universal language, and again, played a major role in when the refugees were here and when they were given safe shelter, and ultimately when many of them moved on.
Right. So yesterday, I was just talking to someone who was part of the University of Guam Madrigal Singers. Of course, they don't exist today, but they were a group that went into the camp to go and perform. And then in one of our artifacts here was a newspaper article written by a student at GW High School at the time, speaking about a concert that was done by those GW students that organized themselves, and they went to the camps and they made friends, and they entertained each other. And I think there was also a photo of the interaction of maybe musicians from the Vietnam veteran, the refugees who played musical instruments, and they shared their musical talents.
So it's hospitality, it's food, and it's music, and that is the core of who we are, and being able to share, the humanity of basically saying somebody is in need, we'll do our very best to help you out.
Absolutely. And so this project, we pray, will allow the refugees to show true gratitude to those who were here, to say thank you, or in their words, "Gam ơn," thank you in Vietnamese, for what they've done, to just open their hearts, to really give them a new life, because that's what they did.
And even though we've got this amazing Operation New Life Center here at the Micronesia Mall, right next to Trove, it's, again, like it's on the bus depot side. If people have artifacts, photographs, old press clippings, or just stories to share, through the magic of, verbal communication and everything like that, they're more than welcome to come forward.
Yes, although this project is spearheaded by University of Wisconsin-Madison, it is not for them to just take out of here to Guam. This project will be shared with the museum, the Guam Museum, the University of Guam, not only because they're collaborators, but because this history needs to stay here. So for those families that are concerned, like, oh, whatever they share is just going to be exploited and taken out of Guam, please be rest assured, this is going to be, your contribution will be shared, because this story needs to be told not only here, but around the world. We've been getting communication of people from here and stateside, they want to connect with the people who they met 50 years ago. And it's a very humbling opportunity for us to be the facilitators of that, if you think from a brain neurology standpoint, to create nodes, so that we can truly learn about what happened here 50 years ago.
And Max, just in conclusion, I mean, it's really humbling because, you know, you and I have been good friends for a long time, and we're sitting here in the air-conditioned facility, but we're sitting on this cot, which is, you know, like
representative of the living condition,
military surplus and everything. But imagine what it was like to be back in the 70s in the open air over at Assen Field and up at Anderson Air Force Base, sitting here on your new adopted home, but having a sense of safety.
Yes, yeah, that was it. They left chaos, and you know, if you've seen Miss Saigon, we've tried to portray the chaos, but when you start hearing the stories from the people who were there, Miss Saigon just does very little to show the true chaos that unfolded at the end of April 1975.
All right. Well, thank you for your contributions and your involvement in this project, and it's certainly worthwhile to the ongoing story of Guam history, man. We really appreciate it.
You're very welcome, and Gam An. Let's learn about Guam history.